Since 2008, I have run over 5,000 events and hosted well over 1 million people. This podcast is for event planners and marketers and the industry's brightest minds. My name is Nick Field, and this is the Professional Partier Podcast. You can follow me at Nicholas John Field on all your major social networks. Are you struggling with the use of drugs and alcohol while working in the events and entertainment industry? This is a pretty common problem. And in this episode, I'll talk about my struggles with alcohol and what I did to overcome the constant consumption. I'll talk about how my life has changed and, more importantly, whether or not it was worth it. If you find this interesting, there's only one way for this show to grow, and that is by you subscribing and leaving us a good rating. So please, if you find this helpful, please do subscribe, rate us, and maybe forward to a friend who may be interested. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Hey, I'm Nick. Welcome to the Professional Partier Podcast. I'm Nick. Welcome to the Professional Partier Podcast. Today, in this episode, I'm going to talk about sobriety in the industry. For those of you that know me, I've been sober for coming on 7 years next month, actually. I'm 40 years old at the time of this filming, which is in 2023, late 2023. And I was a party animal for a long time, like a really long time. I think I had my first drink at 11. And yeah, it was, I kind of carried that through quite a bit, like throughout my life, through high school, college, definitely after college, and in my mid and late 20s, like I partied a lot, particularly alcohol, right? Like alcohol it's the one drug that if you don't have it, people look at you funny. And I work in the party industry. Like this podcast is titled The Professional Partier. Like I still party sort of, even though I don't drink. And I know what it's like when you are out there, you're partying, and after like several years of waking up with hangovers, the hangovers get worse and things just don't seem as funny anymore, like getting blackout drunk, not really as funny when you're 30 as it is when you're like 21 or when you're like 33 or when you're like 35 or like when you have kids or when you have responsibilities or you have staff or you just want to be like a normal person of society. Like it is funny when you're in your 20s, but it wears off. And it's so bad for you. Like the hangovers are your body telling you that it's not cool. But it becomes challenging because for me, I'll just talk about my situation. So I was literally a professional partier. I am a professional partier. I started doing parties for money since I was 16 years old. And I continued throughout my career, and it was tied to drinking and partying was tied to my identity. Like I would always be the one who would be like, yeah, let's go have a drink. And like, I would be the one who would take you from midnight until 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd be the one that says it's a good idea to go to that after hours spot. I'd be the one that would invite everyone back to my place for more shenanigans until the sun comes up. It was like I identified as that, and like people kind of knew me as that. Like there was nicknames that would identify me as like, or running jokes saying like, oh, you're going drinking with Nick, like yeah, see you in a week. And there was a lot of truth to that stuff. So when the not funny parts of drinking started getting like further and further and further into my normal life. And, the people that cared about me every so often would be like, hey, you need to chill out. And then those conversations became more and more, and like they were serious, and like, my relationship was on the line. I really had to think about it like long and hard. And I had a little bit of discipline. I would do Sober September or Sober October. I would do that every year. And during those times, I would still go to the bars and stuff like that. And I would just abstained from drinking. But the thought of putting alcohol down for the rest of my life was a scary thought. And I wouldn't ever like want to admit, I would never say that I would do that. Like, that's not like, no, like the rest of my life, like how much fun do you have like sitting out on a dock on a lake with a beer in your hand, or going to a restaurant and ordering a glass of wine with dinner, or all like the enjoy, like having a drink with my dad, or not seeing somebody for a long time and having a drink, or like celebrating with some champagne, or, you know, just saying, you know what, Friday's early and cutting off early and going to the bar and hanging out with friends and watching the hockey game or football game and having drinks. Like that stuff is fun. Yes, it's fun. But for some people like me, problems would creep in more and more and more. And you say to yourself, oh, I'm going to drink less, or, oh, I'm not going to drink to excess. And you might get away with it for like a month, or for like 2 months, or like 3 months. But inevitably, something happens again, and it usually happens worse. Like you're at the last straw with some people, or you'll do things that you completely regret. For me, I would tally up all the things that I regret in my life. Everything was directly related to alcohol. And it's like that for most people. Like the vast majority of regret comes from times that you were drunk. And that sucks. So for me, I had a last straw. It wasn't anything too serious. Like I literally just stayed out all night one night, and I shouldn't have done that. I broke a promise to my partner that I said I wasn't gonna do anything like that, and I did. So there was a lot of shame when I kind of came to the next day. And for me, I decided to, go get some professional help. And so I went and got professional help. And during this like time that I was away, I considered like, what am I really doing here? And I used my time to think about who I wanted to be. And at the end of my stint, I decided that I didn't want to be party Nick anymore. I wanted to be business Nick. I wanted to be someone that people could like look up to. I wanted to be someone that my kids would be proud of. And that is who I aspired to be. And that was my new identity. And just like that, I was able to flip a switch by going from party Nick to stand-up guy Nick. And that's what I had to do. And that was the hard part. Switching my identity. That was the hard part. But once I did, it's easy. I own a bar. I'm in the bar all the time. Is it hard for me? The answer is no. It's not hard for me. Because alcohol, like it doesn't make things better. How many times do I really wish that I had a drink? It's usually like on like a special date night with my wife, like, and I'm at a restaurant, and that craving comes when I have like my first bite of steak. Like I wish I had some red wine with it, and that happens maybe twice a year, and it lasts for maybe 35 seconds, and then it goes away and it doesn't come back. And she'll have a couple drinks, and even with like a couple drinks, like you feel it the next day, and it's like it's cool. I don't need to be drunk as well when I'm at the bar. I chat with drunk people all the time. Like they're cool. They're just people. Like it doesn't matter if they're drunk. It's not tempting for me. And I'm used to it. And it's like not a question if I'm going to drink. It's a hard no. So I know a lot of people struggle with that stuff. It's not willpower. It's a shift in mindset from party to stand up. You want to be party Nick, you want to be stand up Nick. Do you want to be party John, or Party Mike or Party Kevin, or do you want to be stand up? And if you make that change, then it'll be easy for you. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments, shoot me a comment down below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks for watching.